After thousands of hours of compiling the most rigid rules for life I can find, in this collection, I will only do what is best for you. And that is why I have brought my assistant, Jen. Jen is going to help me make your life better. Say hello, Jen. All right. Thank you, Jen, for assisting. Now get back to your assisting and we'll get into it. Collection 1. Okay? So, first one. The largest battle you will ever have is with yourself. Okay? And it's not physical. It's not the outside. It's only with what's up here. Detrimental thoughts start to creep in. You have to override them. You have to have a voice that is stronger than all of the thoughts of doubt and weakness and whatever. You have to have a larger, louder, conscious thought process than that. Okay? Next. Learn, learn, learn. Always be the student. You have to be the one who does the learning because no one's going to learn it for you. You have to be the kind of person who's going to go out and that's going to pick up information from all around so that you can figure out how can I live life the best or how can I get in the best position. Always be the student. Okay? Sometimes you need to stop talking in order to be the student. Next. You should spend, this is a big one, you should spend every day trying to get in shape until you are because it is the most responsible thing you can do. We all know this. We all know that getting healthy is going to have a massive return on your life. Okay? You're going to get more healthy. You're going to get in better shape. You're going to have bigger arms. You're going to look better. You're going to feel better. Everything in your life is going to get better. You have to be very good at convincing yourself to do things. Okay? And you can do this pretty simply by just repeating the same thing over and over. When you repeat the same thing over in your head, it becomes something that you think about more and more and more. You reinforce that thought. Okay? So if you want to be the best at something, tell yourself, I'm the best, I'm the best, I'm the best. Repeat it. It is impossible to be anxious about something. Okay? So when you are anxious about something, you're anxious that the thing is going to happen in the future. Okay, so the future hasn't happened yet. How can you be anxious about something that hasn't even happened yet? How can you feel something towards something that hasn't happened yet? You know, I could be anxious that I'm going to get in a car crash. Am I going to get in a car crash today, tomorrow? No, I'm not. Why? Because it hasn't happened yet and I'm not going to be afraid of it. I'm not going to let that thought seep in or creep in or anything into my mind. Because that's weakness, okay? And I don't accept that. Next, the most powerful feeling is placing yourself in the shoes of someone who's way less fortunate than you. There is some kid who lives in a dirt hut in Syria and gets bombed frequently, okay? So if you look at your life, what's around you, you live in a house, you have a phone, you have food. These are all things that have been built around your life. And so if you had none of that, how would your life feel? Probably not very good, okay? And you can use that as motivation. You can use that as a way to go, that person was way less fortunate. Guess what? I have the effort, I have the time, I have the consistency or whatever I need in order to get better, get stronger, whatever it is. The subconscious is more important and more powerful than the conscious mind, okay? So our conscious mind is our thoughts, what we think, okay? And we have loads of conscious thoughts, hundreds of them, all right? We think about, what we have to do next, what we need to get out, get out of the fridge or when we need to leave or go to work, whatever, okay? Those are all our conscious thoughts. Now, all the stuff we do in between those of, if I need to go to work, I don't think about going and getting in my car, unlocking my car, or, pulling out my keys, or I don't think about any of those things. Those are all subconscious. So you have way more subconscious things happening than you do conscious. So train your subconscious because it's more powerful than your conscious. See the big picture in your life. Don't plan day to day, okay? When you plan day to day, that is how you end up in a situation you don't want to be in. You live a job and have a job that you don't want. You live a life that you don't want. And that is going to position you poorly. So you want to look monthly, which is like medium term, long term. Like you want to figure out, where do I want to go? And then how do I get there? If you think about something like college, you have to go for 4 years in order to learn the skills that you need in order to get the job that you want. So if it takes that long to do it, in order to make more money or to contribute more or have that job, then you want to be thinking in a 4-year term or longer, okay? So, and look, I take notes because it helps me remember. It helps me remember more important stuff. I can kind of pick and choose, and then I can build my own collection at the same time, okay? So I will always push you to be better, and that's going to include something like taking notes. Next, when you have no strong beliefs, values, or boundaries, you absorb all of the thinking from your surrounding environment, from your childhood. You absorb all of those things, and that's who you become. Do you want to be the kind of person whose thoughts are limited by their environment or their childhood or who they spend, time with? No, okay? Because you want a different life. You want a better life. You want something that's going to make you more successful, more happy. Okay, that's what you want. So what you have to do is you have to rewrite your values, your beliefs, and you have to make it into the best possible character that you can be. You want new beliefs, new values than your childhood, okay? You don't want to be a child forever, okay? And so you can choose and you can subconsciously get yourself to the point where you have the beliefs that you want or the values that you want. Get selective about your time. You should be thinking, where should I spend my time? Because time is ruthless. It has no mercy. Okay, so focus your attention on the things that are going to give you good return, the things that are going to build your life better. Okay, you want to go up the hill. You don't want to go down the hill. Okay, so where should you spend your time? Stop thinking about things so intensely. Once you think about something and then you get started on the right path, keep going. Don't stop going down that path. Don't stray away or find the right path and then sprint down it as fast as you can. You need a paradigm shift. Okay, so a paradigm is a principle that you live your life through. And we all have our sort of wake-up call. Whether it's I got to get in better shape, or I haven't gotten married yet, whatever it is, that is a paradigm that you have to live your life through in order to get, a better result or whatever, okay? So when you have that moment of a paradigm shift or find that moment, your whole life changes. So find the kind of paradigm shift that you want. And if that is going to the gym, then your whole paradigm should be, I need to get healthier. I need to get stronger and better. Analyze your own tendencies, especially when things are given to you quickly. So if you want to have a longer attention span, or you want to have a stronger body, if you're doing stuff that's weak, then you're not going to have a stronger body. Analyze that tendency. If you find yourself, scrolling, then the problem is going to be that you're going to have that sort of weakness. You don't want that. You want to analyze that tendency so you can curve it and put it into something more productive, like going to the gym, getting in shape, whatever, okay? Progress is the underlying principle of everything. It is all centered on progress, okay? Progress is evolution. If we think about it, all of the stuff around us is based on evolution. We decided before, when we were cavemen, that living a life of cavemen and survival and all of that is not nearly as good as living in a place where we have shelter and food and water and we have resources available to us. Okay? So that's all based on evolution and progress and the ability to move society forward. Okay? So if you ever have a problem with something, look at the progress of it, because that's probably your problem. Everything you do affects who you are becoming, okay? And treat it carefully, because you want to become the right person. You don't want to end up 5 years down the road and you're the wrong person. You're not a person that you like. That's not what you want. You don't want to end up living a life that you don't want, being someone who you don't want. You don't want those things. Think about, who do I want to be? And then align the things in your life with what that person would be or what he would do in order to become that person, okay? Treat everything carefully. It works on me while I work on it, okay? And wherever your attention is going is what's going to affect you. It's going to affect you psychologically, physically, emotionally. So have your attention in the right place, okay? And your character will naturally follow. Vocalize everything. You want to vocalize all the things that you're doing because it reaffirms who you are. And I want you to be loud about it when you say it, okay? You don't want to be quiet and shy about it. You want to be bold. You want to be out there, okay? You want to vocalize the things that you're doing. You want to reaffirm yourself in a bold way because you don't want to be weak, shy, or someone who's not, doesn't have emphasis behind it, that doesn't have character behind them. You don't want that. Okay? You can build out the best character ever and be so shy that no one ever sees it and that you barely even show it, and that would be so lame. Okay? So be bold, vocalize yourself, reaffirm yourself. When you say something to someone, it reaffirms who you are. Word selection. This one's similar. Your vernacular will drive your thinking, or the vocabulary you use. Okay? So if I say some words like failure, loser, disgraceful, it kind of has its own vibe to it. Okay? You kind of think, that's not a very good place to be. I don't really want to be over there. And if I said words like winner, competitor, beast, dominator, if I said those words, that also has a vibe. And that kind of brings out, someone who's got some authority, some emphasis. It's a good vibe. It's a much better vibe. And that's who you want to be. So you want to use your vernacular or your vocabulary, and you want it to be who you want to be. Okay? If you want to be a winner, call yourself a winner. If you don't want to be a winner, call yourself a loser. Okay? Don't do that. You're a winner. Set aside hours or time to think about your life. Give yourself time to position yourself correctly. So if we think about something like college, okay, college takes 4 years. So if college takes 4 years, how much time would you spend thinking about what track you want to go down? Would you spend 10 minutes? No, right? Obviously not, because it's 4 years to 10 minutes. That doesn't make sense. Would you spend 1 month? Well, let's see, 4 years is 48 months. So 48 months to 1 month, even that sounds ridiculous. And that's thinking about it for an entire month. So when you see that there's a trade-off or something, and you have this large amount of time that you have to spend committed to it, you want to put some time aside to think about it, okay? If college is 48 months of your life, you probably want to think about it for 3 or 4 months, okay? That seems like a fair trade-off to me for what I'm getting ready to commit to. So think about your life and do the things that are going to help you long-term, okay? That's what I got for you. See ya. Number 19, find the best place in your life to leverage. And you can only do this through thinking. So if I go and I want to find something that's going to give me a high return, right? I need to think about what's going to give me a high return. And then when I find that spot, I'm going to invest a bunch of my time here. And that's going to be leverage times volume, or the most effective task, and then how can I do a lot of it? Okay? Next, yin and yang. Everything creates an inverse, okay? So if you create love, then hate is going to be created elsewhere. So let me give you an example. Think of someone you're really connected to. Think of, it could be me, or it could be your parents, or it could be your brother, whatever it is, all right? If you love that person a lot, then if that person is taken away from you, it creates hate. So you love that person so much, but you hate losing them so much. There's a yin and yang. And so think about what creates the inverse when you have something created or something that you love. And this applies to other principles as well, okay? Or other emotions. If you want to do something hard, you have to suffer through the hard at the beginning, and then you have to find a way to make it enjoyable or fun. And this creates a positive feedback loop. So if you want to go do something that's worth doing, right? Going to the gym, or you want to go and start a new project, it's going to be hard in the beginning because you don't know what you're doing, you don't have all the information, whatever it might be. And then at some point, you create a positive feedback loop. You start enjoying that it's not as much fun as you thought. And then eventually it just becomes normal and you start enjoying it. Okay? So find the moment of that positive feedback loop, and then your whole life or that specific thing that you're working on is going to get so much easier. Okay? Find the positive feedback loop when doing something hard. Study yourself and analyze the words that you use. All right? How you act. So when I'm talking, if I use, words that build me up, that show that I'm the kind of like someone that I look up to, or I'm someone that is charismatic. If I use words like that, I'm going to be more like that person. Okay? Now, if I use words like, some comedians will do this, they will self-detriment, and they'll do it as a joke or self-deprecate. And so they'll make jokes about themselves. And those people always have low self-esteem, because when you make a joke about yourself, you start to think that you are a joke. Okay, so analyze what words you're using. Educate yourself in the life that you want to live. Teach yourself. Nobody's going to teach you. When you walk into a classroom or a school, what's going to happen is that the teachers are going to teach you. Okay? So every day when you wake up, your life starts. So you need to teach yourself on what kind of life you want to live, because no one's going to learn it for you, and no one's going to teach it to you. Okay? Only you can do both of those things. So be your best teacher and be your best learner. Always finish off strong. Be brave when you feel like the end is near. Okay? So when something's about to end and you don't want it to end, or there's a situation that's not really going how you want it to go, be brave, be confident, all right? You've probably messed something up, you probably made a mistake, but the best thing that you can do is get your intentions out on the table. Show your hand. Be brave about it, all right? Take action on your life and be bold, all right? Don't be scared, okay? The worst things that can happen that we imagine happening almost never happen. And the best things usually happen whenever we're brave, whenever we're confident, and whenever we choose to do something or take some action that's actually helpful or beneficial to us. Be confident, or being confident, is about removing doubt. So we've all known that there's been some person in our life you may have observed that is extremely confident. And the reason that this person is confident is because they lack so much doubt. Okay, they think that everything in their mind is going to go exactly how it is in the world. All right. Now, those people who naturally develop that usually don't end up in very good places. But if you want to be a more confident person, you have to remove doubt. You have to remove the idea that this is going to go wrong, or this isn't going to go how I thought it was going to go. Remove that, and you will be more confident. Ownership. You want absolutely no room to complain. If you take ownership of something, then you can start solving the problem. Right? This is a great principle in order to take control, solve problems, fix your life, find solutions. Okay? If you take ownership, you immediately go into a position of, guess what? That was my fault. I did that. And now that I have taken ownership of it, I can go, okay, I see that there's a problem. Now I can go find a solution. Okay? So take ownership. Always be a good person. When you have a good outlook on life, it gets reflected back to you. Okay? And this is a little bit about the law of attraction. When you look out on life and you do good things for other people and find good places to be, then what's going to happen is all that stuff's going to come back to you. You're going to have people that are going to reflect good intentions to you. You're going to have situations that reflect good feelings to you. You're going to have all sorts of stuff like that because it's just going to attract to you. Okay? It's kind of like the yin and yang principle. Now, if you're a good person, what's going to happen is that there's going to be like the bad of losing you. So what other people are going to do because they don't want to lose you is they're going to reflect good to you. Okay? So some of these kind of tie together a little bit. Be the most assured person when you speak. Okay? So be assured in your words because you thought of them, because you came up with them. They're coming out of your mouth. So if they're coming from you, and they are, be assured in what you're saying. This is going to make you, feel more charismatic. You're going to be more of a person that's looked up to when you are assured in your words. Okay? And every word you say is coming from you. So why wouldn't you be assured? Find the thing that works and stick with it until it stops working. If something or someone makes your life feel the way that you want, or it gets the result that you want, then stick with it. Why wouldn't you stick with it? People do something or find something that makes their life better and then they quit it. Don't do that, okay? If it makes your life better or the way that you want it to go, stick with it. It could be a person, it could be a project, it could be a thing, it could be whatever, okay? Stick with it. Just doing uncomfortable things, like being outside in the cold, will give you strength, all right? So in giving you strength, it will increase your mid-cingulate cortex, which is this little spot in your brain that grows bigger whenever you do something uncomfortable. And that's going to make discipline easier, all right? So the discipline is going to become easier when you do uncomfortable stuff. So go take a cold bath or go do 100 pull-ups. Whatever it is, it's going to make your brain bigger, okay? And when that happens, you're going to get smarter, you're going to get stronger, you're going to have more action in your life, okay? So go do uncomfortable things. And do hard things, okay? So you can enjoy the benefits of having done those hard things, okay? So whenever something's hard or something doesn't look fun, there's going to be a time where it's not fun, and then there's going to be the result of doing it, which is actually enjoyable. So when you go head first into doing the hard thing, you can say, I've done this hard thing, and then enjoy it later on. For instance, if you go to the gym now and you go get in shape, you can enjoy the benefits of being healthy later on, okay? So it might be hard at first, but it's going to be way better later on. So hopefully, at this point, some of this stuff is kind of sticking. And look, the most aura so far, for me, has been to see the big picture of my life and look out more than just day to day. So that's been my most helpful thing. So what has been your most helpful thing? Or what's been the most helpful thing that you've gotten out of this collection so far? All right? And I'm going to put my personal phone number up on here. And you can send me whatever, but I want you to send me what has been your most helpful thing. And remember, I will always be there for you, okay? So let's get into the next one. Memorize consciously and then do automatically. So when you do something, you want to memorize, kind of what's going on, and then you want to just start doing it automatically. So subconsciously, you want those things to come up. So it just happens to be action, so that you just happen to do something in the right way, okay? And sometimes it's a good idea to just go out and do something when you already know what you need to do. So if you enter unknown territory of a sport or an activity, you want to find the first 5 principles that matter the most. And you want to focus all of your attention there. Start with what is the goal, and then what are the things that are going to be closely related to it. All right, and this is my success hack. So I'm going to give you an example. Let's say that you walk into a bowling alley and you've never bowled before. So the objective is that you have a bowling ball and you need to knock over the pins. So all the things closely related to that are going to be, well, my hand is going to be touching the bowling ball. My arm is going to be swinging the bowling ball. And the pins are what I need to knock over, and the ball is what knocks them over. So those are the top 4 things right there. So what should I do? I should get a heavier ball. I should get lighter pins. I should swing my arm in a forward motion, and then my hand should be in a placement that's going to keep the ball straight. Okay, so I just found the 4 things that are most connected to bowling, and now I can start optimizing and figuring out how to do that. All right, so find the goal. What is the goal? Determine that, and then break it down really quick. All right, and then you never get caught off guard. Next, it's all about the energy that you carry, like the delivery of what you're putting out into the world. So if you want to deliver yourself better and you want to be a better person, you have to carry that sort of energy. You have to deliver that sort of energy in everything that you do. Okay? And when you do that, it's going to be, again, it's going to be reflected to you. It's going to be seen by other people. It's going to open other doors. Focus on your energy so that you can deliver what you need to deliver, okay? And that's also going to build your life. It's going to build who you are. So when you don't know what to do, start by eliminating bad answers. When you can only choose one path, that means you have to eliminate all the other paths, okay? So we often get in a time in life where we have 1,000 paths to choose from. All right, if we look at college, again, the point of college is to get a job. Okay, and there's 1,000 different jobs that we could go do. We could go hospitality, blue collar, be an officer. There are like 1,000 different jobs that you could do. So what you start doing is that you start eliminating them. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do hospitality. I don't want to be, someone who works at a grocery store, but I do want to be a deputy. Okay? And then you make a list of all the things. I want to be a deputy. What's similar? I want to be a firefighter. What's similar to that? I want to be, an EMT. Okay? So those are the 3 things there. And then you start eliminating those answers. And so life is not always about finding the right answer. It's sometimes just about eliminating all of the wrong answers, which will then get you to the right answer. Okay? And that will point you in which way you need to go. So it's not always about choosing that right answer. It's often about not choosing the wrong answer. Okay? So there are so many wrong answers that we can pull. All right? And what people do is they jump on opportunities. They jump on different things that are going to position them in a life that they don't want. And because they chose the wrong answer. So this is why you need to take some time to think about it. You need to take some time to go, hold on, wait a second. I want to make sure that I don't choose the wrong answer here. Because if you choose the bottom 80%, you're going to live a life that you don't want. You're going to get results that you don't want. And you're going to be in the bottom 50% of people. Okay? So make sure that you choose the right answer or eliminate all the wrong answers, which will point you the right way. Hard is an illusion, all right? And we use this so that we don't have to do something. So when the actions we have to take are seen as hard, in reality, there's just things to do. So again, if we're talking about going to the gym, it's not actually a hard thing to do. It's not hard to get up, go out to your car, and drive to the gym. That's not hard, right? You drive to places all the time. You drive to work. You could justify that. Driving to the gym is the same as driving to a fast food place. It's not hard to go to the gym, okay? But the activity or the way that we label it when we say it is hard is just a mask of what it actually is, okay? So don't fall into this illusion that things are hard, all right? People say that, I remember when I was younger, like a couple of years ago, I guess like 10 years ago at this point, oh, it's too hard to get off the couch and go get the remote. It wasn't hard. All I had to do was stand up and go get the remote. But I labeled it that way, and that's what made it hard. So don't allow that label to give the illusion that it's too difficult for you to do. Okay. Next. If you just work on yourself, the work and the goals that you're trying so hard to get will end up coming to you. So when you go out and do something, when you just take some sort of action towards it, you don't have to chase anymore. You eliminate the idea that, you know, sometimes you have to chase these things and that's how you get them, and that's not how you get them. All right? Those things come to you once you do the work required to get them. Okay? So focus on chasing, or don't focus on chasing. Focus on attracting. You are the soul of your life. How serious are you willing to take that? If you don't move, the soul of your life will not move. All right? And it will never move. So as the person that is responsible for all the things that happen to you, if you don't get out of bed in the morning, your life will never progress. Okay? So everything in your life is up to you. We love the idea of automation and that things happen for us. But that's not reality. So if you don't move, your life will never move. The soul of your life is you. So focus your attention where you want your life to go. All right? Slowly massage the elephant until he moves for you. You cannot negotiate, you can't convince, or you can't push the elephant. And so who is the elephant? So sometimes the elephant is someone who's going to be bigger than you, stronger than you, have more power than you, have more energy than you, whatever it might be. They have something over you. And you can't do anything about it. They're just in a bit bigger, better position, whatever. But if you massage it and you benefit them, and you do good things for them, and you help them, then you will befriend the elephant. And the elephant's going to start paying attention to you, and he's going to start listening to you, and he's going to start doing the best that he can for you. Okay? Find the truth within yourself, and that will guide you. There is something that you want to do. There is something that you need to do. There is something within you that you feel is the truth. Find it. Find that thing and go do it. Because when you find it, it's going to guide you. It's going to guide your life for you. So take some time and sit with yourself and get that feeling that I am figuring myself out right here, right now. And now I will be guided by this from now on. Number 39. To become a master at anything, you must have no tension at all. The body will just flow at a level of mastery and the tension will evaporate. All right? And if you watch anyone at their highest level of competition, professional athletes, they just flow. They don't have to think because they've trained everything and their subconscious is just doing things automatically. Okay? So release that tension in order to get to that high level of competition. Next, do not let other people's circumstances invoke fear into your mind. And so what happens is that other people try to project their insecurity on you. They try to project their fear, their doubts, and all the information that they don't know that you have. Okay? Don't listen to them. You should never be afraid of a thought. You should never be afraid of someone else. And you should never let that thing determine the decision that you're going to make for your life. Okay? Make your own decisions. Don't let other people invoke their insecurity, their fear, their jealousy, their doubt, whatever it is. Don't let them do that. Okay? Never be afraid of a thought, especially not one from someone else. Next, progress, progress, progress. That is the only way that things ever move. Okay? Your life is all about making progress. Okay? If you look at, if you look at going to the gym and getting in great shape, That is all about making progress. You don't wake up one day and you're just in super great shape. It doesn't happen, okay? What happens is that you start to get some abs, and then you start to get some biceps, and then you start to get some great shoulders, and then you start to get a great chest, and you build it, okay? It's all about progress. It never just happens immediately. And you have to recognize that. Show yourself some love. Okay, so sometimes we focus so much on what we have to do next, what we have to get next, where we need to go, that we never take a moment to show ourselves some love. And so we have our mental and physical reality, but we also have our emotional reality. And so when we don't reward ourselves and we don't show ourselves any greatness or satisfaction, what happens is that we get emotionally burnout. And that part of your life does exist. And even if you're trying to go really hard at something, you still have to pay some attention to it. And that can just be by showing yourself some love. Next, if you've never felt good at anything, just know that you can be the absolute best at the things that matter. Okay, so most people weren't, superstars in elementary, or they weren't, superstars in middle school or on the varsity football team or whatever it was. All right, you weren't that person, or I wasn't that person. And so when I wasn't that person, I felt like, my life isn't as good as that all these other people are living up their lives and their lives are great and they have all this status and they get everything that they want. In reality, I realized that there were a few decisions that I'm going to have to make in my life. And those decisions can be on the things that matter absolutely most. Because I knew that the varsity football team didn't really matter for 99% of the kids there. And what does matter is the things that I choose outside of that. Specifically, going to the gym, what relationships do I have? Those sort of thoughts, those sort of decisions that I'm going to have to make in my life, I knew that if I made those right, I would beat all of those people who got on those teams when, my parents didn't let me. When that situation arose, I was like, you know what? I'm going to make the best decisions. And I'm going to get really good at them. Next. You just need the skill to be in you. School teaches you. It teaches your brain. All right? It doesn't teach anything else. When you have the information, when you have the ability to execute on something, go for it. Okay? Because it's not going to come to you. There's nothing in your environment that makes things happen. It's just you. And so when you have that skill, when you have that authority to go do something, you should go do it, because what school teaches you is, it teaches you how to think about this specific thing or what you need to do in this specific situation, okay? And so your life is no different. When you have the skills and when you have the knowledge to go do something, go do it. Next, your brain is super simple, all right? Your brain is just a connection of neurons. So in your brain, it's just connecting a bunch of dots. And the more dots that connect on a specific topic, the more you care about that topic. And the more they fire, the more you think about it. And specifically, the stronger they fire, the better you remember it. Okay? And that is why I write things down. Because when I do something new, like writing something out, instead of just talking or thinking about it, right, it helps me connect new dots. And if I really want to optimize, if I really want to connect all the dots, I write something down, I talk about it, and I think about it. Next, narrow decisions down to binary. Remove all the noise and choose between two things. This will make you move super fast. When you think about going to the gym, there is going to the gym and not going to the gym. Now, not going to the gym has all these excuses. I'm going to go do this, I'm going to go do that. It's all noise. Break it down to two things. I will either go to the gym or I will not go to the gym. Okay? And make the decision from there. Break things down to binary. Okay? And that's going to allow you to move much quicker. Okay? And as well, speed is necessary to outperform other people. There's going to be a time limit to every competition. You don't have to be first, but you have to get there before the opportunity disappears. And so if you see your opportunity fading away from you, you better act fast. Because if you don't, the competition's going to overinvest on it, and they're going to take everything that they need, and they're going to try to beat you. Okay? So move quickly. Don't let things slip by you, because they're not going to be there forever. Consider the exact outcome you will get from your choice. Choose exactly what you want to happen. Okay? So if you're looking at a choice and you need to make a decision in your life moving forward, what you need to do is you need to consider what exactly will happen once this occurs. Is it the things that I want? And if it's not, how can I make it the things that I want? How can I curtail this to be better or more like I want it to be in my life? Okay? You have to consider this stuff before you make a decision. Next, anticipate upcoming and future problems. And this, you should do this so you never get caught off guard. You always want to be prepared for the future. You want to analyze as much information as you can so you can figure out what's going to happen. Because you don't want to get caught in a situation where, oh my God, I didn't expect that to happen. You don't want that. What you want to happen is you want to step into that situation. You want to be like, I am prepared in this situation. I knew that this was going to happen. I knew that I was going to run into this hurdle, or I was going to get into this situation where I was going to have to do something. So don't get caught off guard. Decisions and goals operate in two dimensions. If you do not choose the best path, you automatically choose the default path, which can be, sometimes it can suck, it can be the worst path, it can be a loser's path. It depends on the game you're playing. But you want to choose the best path anyways, okay? So don't pay attention to the default path. It's often not going to lead you to a life you want to live. What it is going to lead you to is a pool of people that are all sort of similar, okay? And you want to not be over there, okay? If you want to live an unaverage life, if you want to live a life that's better than other people, then you have to do unaverage things. You can't be in that safe pool where everything's okay. You have to do something different, okay? So, next, if you want to do something, find the incremental actions required to do it, and then focus on that first step until you're competent, okay? So there's going to be a ladder that you have to climb in order to get something done. So focus on that first step until you feel like, okay, now I can do it, now I can go take action on it, and now I can be who I need to be in order to get it done. You want to feel that confidence, because then you remove all of the doubt necessary, all the hurdles that come up and all that. You can ignore all of them, and then you can just go. Do something until you reach your own version of how you see perfection with it. Okay, so there are different types of perfection in life. All right, there's personal perfection, there's actual perfection, and there's perfection based on certain standards and stuff. You want to find your own version of perfection. In my opinion, that's the best way to live life, because then you have fulfilled everything that you have set out to do. Okay, so when you have to reach your own version of perfection, it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be a cakewalk. What you want it to be is you want it to be hard, because it's going to make you better, and it's going to make your life, it's going to make you a more fortified person. Next, only choose one path at a time. Center your commitment to one long-term goal until the train is on the tracks. Okay, so when you have to go through life, there's going to be all sorts of opportunities. You're going to see opportunities to go do this and go do that. You have to choose one long-term goal, and then you have to commit to it completely. And you have to wipe stuff out. And I mean, you got to wipe stuff out like crazy. You got to get rid of all sorts of stuff. And it's hard and it's not fun, but when you want to commit to something, when you want your life to go a certain way, you've got to commit, and you've got to erase all sorts of stuff. Next, Get better at everything all of the time. Do not lack skill in what you care about. If you care about your life more than other people, do not be worse at life than other people. Okay? And that involves, certain things, right? I mean, do you want to be bad at like being in shape? Like out of all the things that I can think of in life, health is the one thing that I would not want to be bad at. Okay? So get better all the time. Next, you can always get better. Never tell yourself that you can't get any better. Okay? Not getting any better doesn't even exist. All right? It's not possible because everything exists in this gray area. And even if you nail the standards to 100% and you got 100% on the test, there's probably some words you didn't know in the test or, that test isn't comprehensive to everything. Okay? So you always want to make sure that you get better, learn more information, that you're prepared for the next test and the next one. You want to be better than the test. Okay? The test is a standard, right? But what the test isn't, is it isn't comprehensive of everything. All right? So never tell yourself you can't get any better. You can. Turn your brain off when doing it. All right? Trust your warm-up, trust your prep, trust your setup, and then let your body just take on to it. All right? So once you put everything in place, once you set everything up, just say, okay, I've set everything up now. Now it's time to go. And that might not involve some thinking or some things that you wanted to happen, but what it is going to involve is going to involve you taking action, and it's going to involve you taking action quickly, and that's what you want. If you are unable to commit to things in your life, you are somewhat worthless as a person. And so because when you have a job in your life, okay, if you can't commit to your job, if you can't commit to waking up early in the morning, you don't have a job, okay? And so if you can't commit to relationships, you can't have friends. And if you can't commit to going to the gym, then you can't be healthy. And so the things that you can't commit to are what make you less of a person. So find the things to commit to that are worth committing to, and then take them on. And take them on like crazy. Because you don't want to live a life where you're out of commitment, where you don't live in commitment. Because what's going to happen is you're going to be floating around. You don't want to be floating around. All right? Commit to the big stuff and treat it super serious. When your emotions get wrapped up in things like girlfriends, make the rational decision first, and then you can allow yourself to be free. Okay? So, commit to that big stuff, man. Screw your emotions. Make that rational decision on that girl, on that relationship, on that job. And then you can be like, okay, I've done it now. Now I can enjoy it. Okay? And that's what I want for you. Setbacks are an opportunity to move forward. They allow you to see that I've made a mistake, or that I've come up with some sort of problem, and I have to fix it. I have to solve that problem. So a curse, or that setback, can kind of be like a blessing in disguise, because it reveals the problem to you, which allows you to solve it easier. And next, you act based on software and hardware, okay? So your conscious thinking is your software. And this kind of stuff can change super quickly, right? You can think about something else, you can think about something in the future. Like you can be, thinking about different things very quickly. Now, your subconscious is your hardware, okay? And that's the way that you feel about things, that's the way you interact with things in your world, and you can remove it. It's hard to remove though. It takes a lot of effort, and you kind of have to, override it with a lot of time invested into that. Next, count every win and get the dopamine from that win. So whenever you win, dopamine rewards you for that. And you want to feel that dopamine. You want to feel that reward whenever you go do something difficult, whenever you go accomplish something. But at the same time, you don't want to reward yourself every time. Because if you do, then your body expects it. Then your mind expects it. And what you want is you want to keep your mind and your body pushing for more. So oftentimes you just want to write your wins on the scorecard, but you don't want to reward yourself every time. Okay? Watch people who are really good at the thing you want to do and write down the top 3 things that they think about. What do they talk about the most? What do they think about the most? Okay, what are the top 3 things that they do the best, and emulate them, okay? Because there are going to be some people who are really good at baseball, some people who are going to be really good at football. If you want to be the best football player and the best baseball player, there are 3 things that person at the very top, at the very peak, there are 3 things that they do, okay? If you look at someone like Tom Brady, okay, there's going to be 3 things he talks about. He talks about like leadership, how he wasn't the best player on the team, but he went out and did his best every day. How, the coaches put him down, but he didn't care. He showed up to practice every time, early, every single time. Those are the 3 main things that he talks about, or at least that I've seen him talk about. So if you want to be like Tom Brady, write those 3 things down and emulate him. Next, act like the situation has already happened and simulate what you're going to do. Simulate what's going to happen. And what this is going to do is it's going to prime your neurons, okay? So before you go into a situation, if you think to yourself, if you talk to yourself, if you act like it's already happened, you're going to walk in there and you're going to be so ready for it that anything unexpected that you can't quite predict that pops up, you're already going to be ready for it. You're going to have all that mental capacity to focus on that unexpected thing. Next, make a template or an outline to achieve a goal with success. Okay? So if we want to think about what do I need to do? What's the next big thing for me? What goal do I need to accomplish? Right? You need a template. You need to plan out what's going to happen. What do I need to happen in order for this to go? Okay? So build out that template. Build out that plan. Okay? Next, repurpose everything. Everything is useful. Okay? And this applies to everything. So even psychologically, if you have some things going on where, someone isn't treating you the best, or you don't like how something's happening, you can go, you know what? I know that thing's not going well. But what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to take a moment, I'm going to go, you know what? That thing's not going well, but I'm going to frame it in a way that's going to make me better. That's going to repurpose it and make it useful for me. So if you are in, let's say, an abusive relationship or whatever, like I was at one point, what I would do is I would reframe it as, this person just wants me to persevere through this. This person just wants me to get better through this situation. Okay? What number are we on? 85? Okay. Getting something one time is the easy part. Holding on to it consistently is the difficult part. And relaxing with it is the best part. Okay? So it's super easy to go to the gym one time. It's super easy to get up early one time. Okay? What's difficult is doing it consistently. Okay? And then once you've done it consistently, then you can start to relax with it. You can start to enjoy it more. And that is the part that you're going for. Now, that doesn't just come immediately, okay? You have to go through all the times where it's hard to hang on to it consistently and whatever, and then you get to the result. Next. So, seriousness is seen in the eyes. Hold your eyebrows high, okay? You want to project that you have confidence. If your eyes are wide and open and whatever, like, it's going to show weakness and relaxation. You want your eyes to show that you're determined, that you're successful, that you have something that you are going to put out there, okay? That's what you want to do. So make sure that your eyes are in the right place when you're talking to someone, when you're saying something important. Next, be the best version of yourself, and a great partner is going to find you. So if you build your character, if you become someone who's great in relationships, who's got a great life externally and internally, and has all of these great things built out, the partner that you find is also going to have those things built out around them. You are going to attract whatever you go for. So think about that very carefully. You want to find a way to make yourself better, make your life better. And then the partner that you find will come to you, or you might come to them, but they're going to have a similar situation. And that's really what you want. Own your own mind. Everything you say in your mind is the reality that your mind lives. If you create the right mind, you will create the right life. Because your perspective on life is going to be the life that you end up living. So if you create the mind that's capable and smart and intelligent and able to do things and interact in life with a way that makes it easier, you're going to live the kind of life that's easier, where you are more capable, where you are more intelligent. So curate your mind. Next, use reasoning and critical thinking to explore complex ideas. So not everything is going to be easy. There's going to be a lot of complex stuff that's going to happen in your life. Okay? You're going to have difficult situations pop up where you have to make difficult choices, and you got to find out, all the complex details that go into something. Okay? So when you do that, you need to employ critical thinking. You have to think about things in a way that other people don't, or in a way that information isn't laid out. And if you don't do that, then you're not going to be able to understand the idea enough in order to tackle it, in order to figure out all the pieces and all the components that are important. Because all the good stuff that you need is actually in the details. Okay? Don't forget about the main idea, but the details is also extremely, extremely important. Next, your attention is the currency that gets you results. Okay? So when I place my attention somewhere, it is going to give me a result. So if I were to think about going to the gym constantly and it was the only thing on my mind, what kind of results am I going to have? I'm going to have gym results, right? And my thinking is going to be just catered towards that. Now, am I going to go get strong and big muscles by just thinking about the gym 9 hours a day? No, I still have to go to the gym. But if my attention is there constantly, I'm going to start to feel, oh, I'm not going to the gym and I need to go. And at some point I've got to pick up my shoe, put on my shoelaces, and I've got to go to the gym. Okay? So focus on where your attention is, and that's going to get you great results. Insatiable motivation is created by the lack of anywhere to put up or to anywhere to put pent up motivation. Okay, so if we look at people who are like world renowned, like Eminem, he's able to express himself in a way that other people can't because he had all of that motivation that was pent up inside of him. All the times where he was, yearning to express himself, okay? And he didn't have that opportunity to do it, and then he kind of put it out into music, and that allowed him to open up, okay? And that pent-up motivation was so strong that he became a platinum rapper, okay? Next, if you want to be a superhero or similar, take the actions that a superhero would take, okay? A person is not determined by their ego or their persona. They're determined by their actions. And that's how I want you to judge people. That's how people should be judged, by their actions, because we know that there are people who walk around and they kind of flex certain things and stuff, and that's not them. We know that that's not them, but they are able to put on that persona that it's them. Judge people by their actions. Judge people by what they say. Judge people by what they do. Next. Be capable of being super intense, laser focused, and maximally hardworking. And if you are able to do that, and you are also able to be capable of, relaxing, slowing down, and being present, you're able to hold this dichotomy between I can work really, really hard when I need to, and I can also relax and be present in myself when I need to. And that kind of person is the kind of person who's able to do and be capable of doing loads of things while also taking a step back, taking a step in, and almost being like a monk, like meditative, all right? Next. Sometimes you just need to let go of the ideal of something. So if you're constantly thinking about health and how can I get healthy, but you're not thinking about just going to the gym and just letting the ideal of health and being as healthy as possible just go, and instead just going to the gym and just letting that flow in, then if you can't hold that dichotomy together, you're going to get stuck in your head. Okay? So what you need to do is you just need to relax, and you just need to let it flow and let go of the ideal so that you can just go to the gym. Next, be the person you need to be for the life that you want to live. Okay? And regardless of how extreme that might be, choose the best character for your life and become him. Okay? Life almost, in some ways, it feels like a game. Okay? There are certain levels of the game that you can kind of play, but you don't ever want to be there. You don't ever want to sit there and think that life is a game, because then you treat it like a game. No, life is life. Okay? Treat life that way, like it is reality, like everything you do is set in stone. But you also want to be the character that you want to be. You want to be the person that you want to be. You want to be the individual that you want to be, because you becoming an individual and focusing on your character development will make your life better, will make you a better person, okay? So focus on your life like that. Next, always review and double check your work. Look for simple, catastrophic mistakes. You don't want to sit there and go through everything over and over and over again, okay? Because that builds doubt. But you want to look for catastrophic mistakes of where you could have accidentally slipped up, and that's going to cause a huge issue. Okay, so double check your work, but make it quick. All right, be quick with it. And you don't want to double guess your answer with the same information, but you want to focus on, is this answer exactly how I want it to be? Is this exactly what I need it to be? Or do I need it to be, different, curated, whatever it might be, okay? So just focus on, did I make a catastrophic error here? And if I did, you can fix it super quick, and you can do that super quickly. We have gone over 100 different ways to make your life better, and we're still going. Get things done step by step. List out the next few tasks that you have to get done, and then do them in order one by one. Okay, so we want to prioritize the things that are most important. We want to prioritize the things that we have to get done now because they're urgent, because they have a time limit. And then we want to go and we want to execute on them one by one. Next, minimize problems to reality, and then recognize the real risk to reward ratio. So when we think about things, we want them in reality, because that removes the emotions of fear and doubt and insecurity and all those emotions that we don't want because they aren't part of reality. And then we can recognize, am I willing to do this for this reward? Okay? Next, motivate others by becoming so good that they feel required to get on your level. So you can build up your circle. You can build up your friends and your family. So when you become so good at doing certain things, it builds around your circle. It almost like trickles around to the people around you. So even if you don't want to get better as a person, even if you don't want to act better as a character, a person, it will still affect your family, your friends, the people you spend the most time with. So even if you can't do it for you, you can still do it for them, and it'll benefit you and them. Okay, next. In your darkest moments, you will only ever have you. Okay, but I will always be there for you. The knowledge, the information that I put into here will be there to assist you in your head, because all you have is the skills, what you know, and the moment that you have. Okay? So when you're in that moment where it sucks, where you're going through some struggle, you have to reach in and you have to realize that, look, dude, it's all up to me. I got skills, I got knowledge. I have to get myself out of this. Next. There are two types of problems, binary and creative problems. Binary problems have one of two answers, okay? 1 and 2. But creative problems require you to factor in all the gray area in between. So largely, we want to deal with binary problems. I can do it or I can't do it. Or I will go or I won't go. That's how we want to deal with problems. But sometimes there are gray area problems, creative problems, and they have no right answer, no perfect answer. And so we just have to choose the best answer that we can find and then move on. Next, think in terms of minimum requirements to get the job done. So when we think about a job or something that we have to get done, a project, whatever it might be, there are going to be some core elements that are required in order to get it done. So like we have 1, 2, 3, and that accomplishes the goal, okay? There's going to be like a main kind of framework built around it, okay? So we want to analyze like what are those specific things? What are the minimum requirements in order to get this thing done? And then build around that, okay? So if there's 3 main things to get it done, we want to have those 3 main things, and then we want to build the details around it. And that might be 50 different things that we kind of build around it, okay? Next. You should appear responsible in your relationships for yourself and for them. Have responsible strength, okay? You want to project yourself as a responsible person. You want to take responsible actions. You want to do what's best for people. You want to be responsible in being there for people, okay? That's what you want to do because you want to project that responsible strength, okay? And what that's going to do is it's going to make them better, it's going to make you better, it's going to make your relationship better, it's going to make everything better. So have and feel a sense of I am responsible, I need to be responsible, and I need to project that strength out. Okay? Next, shift your mindset, shift your mentality, shift your paradigm. Whatever is required to get the thing done, shift it. Okay? Shift your life towards it. Get over that friction because there will be some friction. Okay? If you want a different life, you have to think differently. You have to act differently. Okay? You have to be in a mode where I have to do something I haven't done before, but I'm willing to go through that friction in order to get there. Okay? You only start to enjoy something when you get good at it. Just know that it won't be fun at the start. That it's not going to be fun when you start to do something. It's only going to be fun when you get good at it. So you're never going to be an expert when you first start. You're always going to be a beginner. It's always going to be hard. It's always going to be hard to show up consistently until you get good. And then you're going to start enjoying it because you're going to be better than other people. You're going to network with people who also have the same interests as you. This is how it's going to work. And then it's going to be fun. It's going to be enjoyable. You're going to want to keep going or keep doing it. Next, you will have more responsibility in the future than you ever will right now. So if you don't have time to do it right now, you will have less time in the future. So that thing you've been thinking about, take action on it now. Okay? In the future, you'll have kids, you'll have, more time spent on your job, you'll have less health. Like these are the things that you will guaranteed basically have at some point. You will always have responsibility. And I will always promote for you to have responsibility. But you will have more responsibility in the future. So if you don't think you have time now, you got to find time now, because you'll have more responsibility and less time in the future. Okay? Next, exposure therapy is the easiest way to overcome adversity because it's freeing. If you ever see someone with some sort of, they don't like something, like something kind of freaks them out, like maybe they don't like spiders or something. If they stand in a room with spiders, their mind starts to go, oh my God, it starts to freak out. And then it kind of goes, okay, I'm around the spiders. And then it goes, okay, the spiders aren't hurting me. And it goes, okay, well, look at the spider. And now it's like we went from freak out mode down to, I understand that the spider's there and it's fine. Okay, so expose yourself when you're afraid of something. Okay, whenever you fear something, you might just need to be around it and then you'll get over it. Okay, you're naturally good at overcoming adversity. Okay, so free yourself from the things that you feel are kind of chaining you down. Okay, free yourself by exposing yourself to them. Next, if you're going to fall down a slippery slope, which inevitably happens, or we see it happening or getting ready to, set your guardrails up so that you don't lose everything that you have and you can still experience the full thing. Okay, there are situations in your life where you're going to fall in love with someone, or you're going to get down a wrong path or something, and you can see yourself falling down the path. But maybe you can't help it, or maybe you just don't know the outcome that's unexpected or whatever. So set your guardrails up so that your life doesn't just collapse in front of you, okay? You don't want that to happen. You want to have, I have strict barriers here, I have strict barriers here. Now I can go down this path. Now I can go down the slippery slope, and I will be okay when I get to the other side of it. That's what you want. Next, you have to fight the battle against yourself. Reprogram your body and fight against the habits that you want to reprogram. If you want to be someone different than you are right now, there is a battle to get through. You will have to move through in order to become a different person. Okay? So when you start to fight that person, it's all normal. It's all I have to get through these habits. I have to get through who I am right now in order to get to the other side. Okay? So fight it so you can reprogram it with what you want, not with what you are right now. Next, life will fluctuate between good and bad naturally. That's how it works. It will permanently fluctuate. Don't try to control it. Just try to work towards the good part of it. Okay? So there's going to be good, there's going to be bad, but if you just continually work towards the good, then you can just avoid most of the bad stuff, okay? And when those bad things inevitably pop up, you're going to be ready for them because you're going to have done the good work that you need to do. You're going to become the good person that you needed to become in order to overcome that bad adversity or those bad problems, okay? So focus on the good stuff in your life. Be almost optimistic towards pushing for good stuff. Next. There will always be more good than there is bad. So look at it optimistically, okay? As long as we don't know where we have come from in the universe, there will always be more good than bad because we will always be pushing for the answer. Because the answer is good for society, it's good for our heads, and whatever, okay? So as long as that balance exists between we don't know who we are yet, where we came from, and trying to solve that problem, we will always be pushing for good until we find that answer, and then it will level out between there is some good and some bad, and they're relatively equal. Okay? Next, act with character integrity all of the time. Always know that those little thoughts, the little actions that are bad will always come back to you at some point. When you try to, do something that's not disciplined, let's say you kind of make a little slight on someone, or you kind of, put someone down a little bit, and you think, nobody notices, or whatever, you hurt someone's reputation, that will come back to you. Guaranteed 100%, okay? Always focus on your integrity. First of all, there is something, is something is watching you. One, and two, there is almost like it affects your character to a certain extent, even if no one sees it, that it internalizes in your body that, you were being a hateful person or that you were doing something negative, okay? And so when you begin to feel that, just know that it will come back to you. So hold yourself accountable. Say, you know what? I'm not gonna destroy my integrity here just so I can kind of make this little move that kind of makes my ego feel good or makes me feel good, okay? Don't allow for that temptation to happen. Hold your integrity. Hold the line. Someone is watching. That's all you got to think, is that someone's watching me right now. And if it's you and you're the only person watching you, maybe that's enough to motivate you to hold the integrity, hold the line. Next, put the blinders on and don't allow you to feel bad for yourself, okay? Sometimes you just got to persevere through stuff. Sometimes you just got to be like, you know what? I need to not feel bad for myself right now. I need to be in the situation where it's like, you know what? I'm okay. I can just keep on going, and I'm going to put the blinders on and keep pushing through whatever this is, okay? Allow your mind to focus and flow, okay? When you put those blinders on, when you ignore all of the noise and you can just go, your mind focuses, your body focuses, and you begin to go into this flow state. And that's where you need to be in order to achieve some of the results, even if it's hard to do, okay? Next, observe yourself. Notice your subconscious cues. Notice how you react when people say certain things. And notice that in the moment, okay? So if you're having a conversation with someone and you begin to feel, hot and sweaty and like a little bit irritable, notice what kind of triggered you for that. You're going to learn about yourself that way. You're going to learn, what are the things that kind of get me feeling that way that I don't want, and how can I reprogram that if I really don't want it? How can I learn about myself in a way that's going to help me in the future? Okay? So pay attention to those subconscious cues. Okay? And it could be something that makes you feel good. It could be something that makes you feel bad. Just learn about yourself. Next, the best solution usually requires more than one high-level component. Okay? So if we think about, someone who did something excellent, let's say a professional football player, okay? We usually think, a quarterback is really good at throwing the ball. That's not quite the whole picture, okay? That might be one really high-level component, is that they can throw the ball with precision and accuracy and power, right? But there's a lot of other components. They're able to see the field well. They're able to move their feet well. They're able to find the pocket well. This is stuff they're able to do well. They have multiple high-level components, but you can't really see them because you think, it's the quarterback position. They're good at throwing the ball. There are a lot of high-level components involved in being a very good, athlete or whatever you want to be. Even being really good at going to the gym and getting fit, right? It takes a few, not very many actually, but a few high-level components in order to do that. And you got to build those, grow those, and you can do that. Next, think rudimentary to understanding things simply, okay? So if you move heavy stuff, you get strong. If you go to the gym, you get in shape. Okay, just think super basic, super rudimentary, and that's going to give you a super solid guideline of where you need to go.